I don't know if you can tell, but I've put like 100 hours into Black Myth Wukong and have almost beat the game 3 times now, so I thought, why not go over all of the tips I wish I knew from the start that a lot of people seem to not know. For the longest time, I had no freaking clue what the heck resolute counterflow was or how to use it, but it is actually one of the most useful skills in the game as it actually allows you to essentially parry. It's timed like a parry and completely disregards the enemy's attacks while also counter-attacking them. When you read the skill, it says, performing heavy attacks during light attack combo with a focus point consumed allows the destined one to execute resolute strike, and then mentions seeing through the enemy's attacks. It's probably just a mistranslation, but that first sentence makes me feel like I'm having a stroke. But it makes a lot more sense when you actually use it. All you have to do is have a focus point available, so have that focus meter filled at least one time, which you can do by just hitting enemies. And while you're using your light attack, if an enemy goes to swing at you, press the heavy attack, which is triangle or Y on controller, and you should perform a resolute counter strike. You do have to time it correctly, just like you would any other parry in another game. And I highly recommend at least putting your first 10 skill points into the staff stances tree so you can get 3 focus points, because that makes a huge difference in the combat and how much damage you can do with your heavy attacks. Plus, knowing that parry information now gives you like 3 extra parries to have on standby. Another thing that a lot of people seem to not know is that you can make dodging super easy in this game, and all you have to do is just not move. Just dodge without moving the left stick or without walking in any direction, and the game is so much more forgiving with the dodge windows. It's like your character always sees the best possible place to dodge, no matter where enemies are moving, so that he can finagle his way through without being hit. It's like you're giving the controller to the AI to decide where to dodge. Obviously, perfect dodging is even better, and you can still do that without moving, so just dodge without walking in a direction, and you will almost always escape getting hit. Small things like those, the resolute counter-strike and dodging, are easier to do when you're getting better performance from your PC, and that's why this video is sponsored by Nvidia, who wanted me to show you guys how to get the best possible visuals and performance, and some of the best settings you should be using on your PC. All you have to do is go into your settings, go over to graphics, and toggle on full ray tracing. Rather than just regular old ray tracing, it's using full ray tracing or path tracing to make the game's lighting way more realistic and more similar to how light reflects in real life, which just makes the lighting and shadows look 10 times more realistic. Like, look, here's no ray tracing, and here's full ray tracing. It looks nuts. After toggling on full ray tracing, I highly recommend using DLSS since this game uses Nvidia's DLSS 3, but also super important is ticking on frame generation, at least if you're using a GeForce RTX 40 series graphics card to help boost your performance by a giant amount and help you get the most frames possible, which it does a super good job at for also simultaneously using full ray tracing. I use full ray tracing, DLSS, and frame generation in every game that I play when it's available, and I'm playing on a GeForce RTX 4090 in 4K, and the game looks absolutely beautiful, and DLSS 3 combined with frame generation is the only reason I'm able to get these insane graphics while also getting the performance needed to play a fast-paced game like this. Thank you to Nvidia for sponsoring this video. So over to our spells. The Spellbinder spell at first sounds like it's not too great. It gets rid of your mana and stamina when you use it, which is sort of counterintuitive since those are 2 major things we generally want more of in this game. But Spellbinder is absolutely broken. It gives massive crit and attack buffs, especially if you have the last 2 skills in its tree unlocked. The second to last one specifically making it so that having a large amount of maximum mana makes you deal an even bigger amount of damage since it gives you a damage buff based off of how large your mana bar is. And I always assumed this was a timed spell like everything else, but no. You actually stay in this state until you cancel it by doing something like resting. You get Spellbinder by completing the treasure hunt side mission that you get by progressing into chapter 3, and over at the north shore of Bitter Lake Shrine, you can run all the way down toward the edge of the water, passing the dragon named Chen Long and the small hut to our left, and sprinting off into the gates where off to the right hand side, you can find a man needing help. If you assist him, you can meet him again later over near the Towers of Karma Shrine. I highly recommend at least putting your first 10 skill points into the staff stances tree so that you can get 3 focus points, because that makes a huge difference in the combat and how much damage you can do. Also, obviously, that Spellbinder skill tree once you unlock it for the reasons we already went over. But between those, I highly recommend going into your survival skill tree here and spending points on the very last one for an attack buff, the skill for crit chance, the wrathful skill for crit damage, and then maximum mana. Those also go really well with the Spellbinder spell, but even without it, those are the skills I would be upgrading. One of my favorite spirits in the game is the Gore-Eye Taoist because of his attack buff you get while using it, where you plant down your staff and have a general area you can use to deal more damage, but also his passive ability to give you a considerable amount of extra mana, which if you're using Spellbinder is just more mana for you to turn into attack. You get the Gore-Eye Taoist over in Chapter 2's Valley of Despair, right next to the Yellowwind Sage boss fight where you find the Fragrant Vine hanging there. It's extremely hard to miss this guy. Hands down, the best relic skill in the game is the second one in the 6th relic you unlock for completing the secret ending to the game, which allows you and all of your monkeys to all simultaneously hit an enemy with something like a charged heavy attack. This is straight up broken. If you didn't unlock that skill, you can unlock every tier of all 6 relic skills by completing the game 3 times, and after each chapter you can just keep unlocking relic skills. So if you didn't get that one, you can get it on your next playthrough after completing the secret ending again. So possibly the best armor in the game, at the very least top 3, is surprisingly the Pilgrim armor. At first it doesn't look like much, it becomes available to craft in Chapter 1 and doesn't do that much, but if you upgrade it to mythical armor, which you can do in the Relic Scroll, which you unlock in Chapter 3, and we went over how to get that in the last video where you can upgrade your armor, or in New Game Plus you can just upgrade it at a shrine. But you upgrade all of these pieces to mythical and the defense is top tier by itself, but it also gives you the ability to heal while sprinting, which is huge in itself as well, since healing typically leaves you wide open for damage. But other than that and the super cool trail that you leave behind while running, you also have the abilities while sprinting to generate focus points, and if you're wearing 2 pieces of the Pilgrim set, you can moderately increase your sprint speed. But wearing 4 pieces allows you to stack attack buffs for every second you're running, and stacks up to 10 times, which basically means after running around for 10 seconds, you deal double damage. It's ridiculous. Talking to Chen Long, the dragon who is at the north shore of Bitter Lake in Chapter 3 and fetching his medicine from Zoodog to open up the Relic Scroll location where you can find Yin Tiger to upgrade your armor, also allows you to challenge him. If you beat Yin Tiger, you get an extra Curio slot. Thanks to this comment, I didn't know before reading that you can continue to stack extra Curio slots on each playthrough. So if you beat Yin Tiger on a second playthrough, you can get 4 Curio slots, and on the next one, you can unlock a 5th, with that 5th one being the most that you can unlock. So you can have 5 Curio slots in the game. And the Curio's abilities stack, so if you're wondering why you have multiple of the same Curio, it's because their abilities stack and can give you a pretty good buff with a few of them combined. That's pretty much it. You're going to get the ultimate Black Myth Wukong experience on GeForce RTX 40 series graphics cards with full ray tracing and DLSS 3. Thanks to Nvidia for sponsoring this video. See ya.